Hello, welcome back, everybody, to another year of the Sunday Podcast.
I'm Ollie Lam.
And I'm Matt Seddon.
Back in 2025 for our 5th season. You can expect more of this.
He's claiming that he was ill before the semi-final, whatever. But, you know, I just feel like at that point he was just looking for attention.
And some of this.
And you normally say, no human is limited. So I can't limit myself, or I can't just say I can do.
As well as event coverage around all the major races on the UK circuit.
And if you're a fan of the pod, please give us a rating and review on your preferred podcast streaming service.
And if you want to stay up to date with all the latest news, give us a follow on Instagram at Sunday Podcast.
As always, thanks for listening. See you next time. And we hope you enjoyed the episode.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode brought to you by sportshoes.com. As always, London Marathon is coming up this weekend. Marathon season is in full swing as well, with Boston going down just yesterday. So Matt and I thought, get our teeth stuck into it, talk about the Brits, talk about the worldwide field, get some predictions going, and just look forward to a great weekend, mate.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's the best field by far. We talk about Boston, what a great race it was, by the way, and I think we'll just touch upon it for 5 minutes, mate. You know, I think anyone who watched it probably enjoyed at the fact, like, I think it is cool how Boston just doesn't have any pacemakers, and the course, I guess, being a bit unpredictable and very challenging towards the end as well, like is downhill at the start, then gets hillier, but it is kind of net downhill in total. But I just think that is kind of how marathons should be run, and there is a lot more of a tactical element involved, whereas London is just going to be who's the fittest, who's the fastest on the day. We don't know any pace groups yet. I presume we're going to see a whole host of press conferences from when's probably tomorrow, Thursday onwards, British press conferences and so on. So please forgive us if we start, you know, sort of if our views are way off. We're going in blind, and I'm sure we'll hear more about athletes' preparations in their press conferences and stuff. But yeah, mate, I think let's just touch upon Conor Mantz. Is he bold or like could he be smarter? Obviously finishing 4th, but just like insists on doing so much of the hard yards and just kind of pushing the pace and stuff. And like the way John Career, who eventually won, executed that race, he was just so patient, and when he made his move, he moved. Sometimes I just think Conor Mantz, like, it's great to have this kind of bold, like gung-ho mentality, but could he just be a bit smart? Like,
mate, I think the thing with Mantz, right, he's done this his whole career, and when he first went into the NCAA, he did that and didn't always come out on top. But by the time he finished the NCAA, he did that and he was on top. And it reminds me a lot of a Jake Smith, right? And we're gonna get to Jake Smith in a bit. We're gonna see him run on Sunday, finally in London, and I think he'll be very similar. Like, obviously he's not gonna. Well, I say obviously, never know with that kid, but he's not gonna be trying to win London Marathon on Sunday. But very similar athletes in that they will go and really get after it. And I think they're almost the type of athletes that if you maybe scientifically, physiologically, I mean, you could make an argument for running smarter. But I think the way they run, their biggest strength is their mentality and that gung-ho attitude. And you take that away from them, and I think they're just not the same beast as they are when they feed off working hard and making other people hurt, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Like, I definitely, when Jake Smith was at his best, I definitely feel like he thrived in those situations. For example, like when he paced the Cheshire Marathon, like he thrived being up front and just like having fun with it and just feeding off the sort of the energy of crowd and other people, etc. So I kind of agree with that. I do think though, the NCAA is completely different to the pro scene, and at the end of the day, when you become a pro, the level is just so high that I do think you have to. It's kind of like Jacob, right? You know, he's someone who just he wants to prove to everyone that he can win the hard way and win from the front. But so far, you know, in the 1500, he hasn't been able to do that. And I almost look at like Manson. I think he's going to need to try, you know, not kind of curb that aggression, but just tactically get a little bit smarter in situations if he's going to want to win a major. But it was mightily impressive. The guy's still young, and yeah, he's a phenomenal talent. And goodness me, like, what's 205 low, 205.0 pretty much? What's that worth on that Boston course? Like, could he go to Valencia and be running a 2.3? Probably.
I think, just going back to what you said right at the start, mate, that's why Boston's so good, because it's quick enough. Like we get an interesting race, we get a cool course that throws in some obstacles, but it's quick enough that people still run a decent time. It's not some stupid course where people are running kind of 2:15 or whatever. and we still see some world class time. So it is cool, and it's. I think London gets away with it, and will get away with it this weekend because they just bring, like you say, the greatest field of all time together pretty much every year. Feels like we say that every year. But yeah, Boston, great kind of advert to the world of how to put on a marathon.
Absolutely. And on the women's side, talk about speed. They proved how fast you can go, 2:17. Sharon Lekady and, beating Helen Obiri there. And then also Callie Thackeray, who for a large part of that race was actually, I was talking last week, wasn't I, about potentially breaking 2:20. I think she's definitely in that shape, coming home in 6th in the end, obviously outside 2:20. But I can't help but think she'd be lining up in London this week. Her and McColgan would have had a fantastic battle. Because I think, looking at McColgan's halves and her 10Ks and stuff, very, very similar to Callie. And yeah, I think they both would have been shooting for a good 2:20, 2:21 mark come London. That would have been a really good matchup between the best of Britain. Because even though McColgan hasn't even run a marathon yet, we don't know what to expect. But, I've got her down for that range.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to go off at that pace, isn't she, regardless? So it's always going to be interesting, right? She's not going to go and try around 2:25. So yeah, it's going to be good. But yeah, Callie obviously setting her stall out and really putting down a good time, but it looks like she wants to hit some track races this summer.
It sounds like it. Yeah, a couple kind of post-race interviews. She was giving off the vibe that I think she wants to go to the World Champs in Tokyo, but I think she potentially might want to double in the 5 and the 10K. I think there's one of the big reasons we saw her do that Sound 10. She loves to race. And actually, I feel like she appreciated actually how hard it was, obviously doing the Olympic marathon and several other marathons last year, and then obviously now building into Boston. And I think she just feels like she needs a little bit of a break and just to step away a little bit from the marathon, from these builds, and sort of then, she's definitely going to have like an hour in LA to really, really be in like tip-top shape there. And I think, yeah, she's got 0 to lose if she does the 5 and the 10, and she certainly wants to keep in touch with that speed. And she even mentioned about how, in the women's race, for example, they dropped a 4:40 mile. And it's like, if you're not at a level where you can qualify for the 5 and the 10K, I think 4:40 mile, was it 4:41 or something at mile 20 or mile 17 or something in the women's race. And like, if you're not at the level where you can go to world championships in the 5K or the 10K, there's no way you can live with anything like that. And she's got lofty goals. And I think, she needs to be at that level, which is another reason why she wants to go to the world champs in September. And it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think bang on, mate. Great decision. It's only going to make her better. And yeah, like you say, a world champs marathon, you're not really missing out on too much, are you? And it just gets her ready. And like you say, she's in the position where she is good enough to go on a track in the British team. So why not make the most of it and just like really enjoy your career as well? I think a lot of athletes, like, they go there and they're like, oh, I can never go back now. I'd love to see someone like Mark Scott do the same. I guess it's slightly different because he's not really made his full transition to the marathon yet, in a way. Obviously not racing again this weekend, but I'd love to see someone like him. Had he run London this weekend, then go make a track team and then come back and really rebuild again and just keep dipping in and out of some of these events. Yeah,
obviously it is a shame that we're not going to see Mark in London, nor Emil, but hey, talking of Mark, I saw something today actually. He's announced he's going to do Mid-Cheshire 5K in May.
Yep.
I was thinking, but obviously he's not doing London, but obviously it makes sense. I think when he does his next marathon, he wants to actually really be able to nail it. So if he hasn't quite got the work in, it's much easier for him to do a 5K. Then it obviously is a marathon. It sounds like it's going to be one of his first races back, coming back off of injury as well. So you're right. And I wonder if, a lot of our athletes like, Sesemann, Emil, like they've very much gone to the roads and we'll never see them again on the track.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Emil, to be honest, just because he's coached by Canova, it actually wouldn't surprise me. I feel like he's the sort of coach who's open to a bit of that. Yeah. Not going to be in the same like way that he obviously approaches the marathon, and he's so good now that fair enough. But look, mate, let's get into some of these international fields, and then we'll crack into those Brits afterwards. Because look, we said it before, and we'll say it again. Perhaps the greatest ever. We got both Olympic champions, men's and women's side in Hassan and Tola. What a way to start.
Yeah, and I think, mate, are they your favourites? I was just trying to find some odds, but doesn't seem to be any that exist at the moment. Perhaps we're too far out, but
Sifan, Hassan for sure. Tola is going to be there or thereabouts. I haven't really decided, mate.
Yeah, I gotta admit, like Hassan, like just the way. Interestingly, like both of them just haven't done anything. Like since they've won the Olympics, they haven't done anything. But I guess that's modern day marathon prep, isn't it? Like the real best of the best, you just don't see them race. And they just come out, they get into these massive blocks and they just nail it. So yeah, I mean, I would say Hassan. Her nearest rival, by the way, is Tigger Sesefa. Obviously ran 2:11.50. 3 in Berlin and was second in the Olympics, second at London last year in 2:16. That was the second fastest female race, marathon only, not mixed with the men. Jacob Kiplimo, who won London last year and obviously ran that amazing 2:16, that course record and that world record women's only time. She's pulled out, she's injured. And mate, the big news really is Ruth Chepngetich pulling out, who's obviously just claiming, she said, well, not claiming, but saying she's just not in the right place mentally or physically to run, but didn't highlight an injury or give any more of a reason than that. And it's interesting when you think of an athlete who ran 2:09.56 last year in Chicago. All she's done since, mate, is a 66:20 half marathon and a 31:30 10K on New Year's Eve, and both of those times she was beaten in both of those races. And obviously both, I mean, you do the math, both slower than that 2:09.56, which is crazy. Like both splits.
It is crazy, isn't it? I remember we chatted about that afterwards, and I guess we'll never really know. Well, we might one day, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully we do see a race again, because look, we want good races, and seeing a 2:09 athlete, a 2:11 athlete, and Hassan would be insane. But I do still think that course record of 2:16 that you mentioned is going to be under threat.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I don't know, mate. I mean, yeah, you would say with Hassan and the Sefa, but it just depends who they're going to have with them late on. Because you start to take out the Kiplimo and Chepngetich. You've got Chepkosgei and Alamu of Ethiopia, both of those 2:16 runners, and you can imagine they're going to be in it late. So yeah, you still have got 4 women who are sort of below 2:17 and who can roll. I think there's going to be a big negative split in this women's race. A massive negative split.
Mate, for me, I think it's just the Hassan factor in that, like you mentioned, she's not done anything since the Olympic Games. And for any athlete, you come off the Olympics and it's like, where do you go next? But for someone like Hassan, who has such lofty goals, such aspirations, and is so kind of motivated to just keep grinding, I really do think that Hassan will want to put a good time down. She's not just going to want to come here and win, because she's shown she can do that before. She's obviously beat the best of the best of the Olympics last year, and so for her to keep progressing, she needs to go and run a ridiculous time.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, mate. I mean, she won London on her debut. She's ticked that box. She's run a stupid time of 2:13. Yeah, you're right. She's won it all. Yeah, she'll be looking for a world record, a female only world record, I'm sure. I would hate to talk about, a 2:10 or a 2:09 or something like that. But Sefa has obviously run 2:11, and that was in 2023, wasn't it? So if she's improved since then, I mean, we could see something silly. Is Hassan going to be targeting? Is she going to be targeting a PB? We just don't know. And I think this is what's so difficult about these major marathons. And it's kind of the same in Boston. Is like, people just don't race. So you just don't know how anyone's going, and you only find out some very small snippets after the press conference, after the race, in the post-race press conference. Then people start to be a bit more transparent with how their build-up went, and you start to find out about all these little niggles and illnesses people had coming in. But the pre-race stuff, everyone's had a perfect build, everyone's excited, everyone's going for a PB, blah blah blah. So it is so difficult to predict how it's going to go. But I think, yeah, definitely on this women's side, we've got a fantastic matchup. But yeah, we've got 2 women who haven't raced. And so we're just going to have to wait and see what they could do.
Yeah, and then obviously you throw Eilish in there, and what is she going to do, mate? Is she going to go get involved with whatever these ladies do, or is she going to try and run a sensible debut, because it's taken her a few years to get there? Because for me, what was it, 2 years ago she was meant to debut. 2 years ago, going into that race, I was like, Eilish is just going to go and get on it, basically, whatever it is, because she was just at that point fearless. And this year, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think as well, mate. Like, her confidence back then was just ridiculous. Like, she was beating these women on a regular. She'd run. I mean, I just think that when she ran 30 flat for 10K on the track, that was at the Sound 10. That was. Yeah. That was mind-boggling. Yeah, the 65 half again. Like, she did some incredible stuff, and I'm pretty sure there was she ran in Hengelo. It's like the Ethiopian trials, and she beat like Gide and people like that. And it was just, they were racing for the Ethiopian trials. So it wasn't quite a clean victory, but that was the best we've ever seen Eilish. Like, simple as. And whether she's got that level of confidence, so we're going to get to see that side of Eilish, I'm not sure. But what I can say is I think she's in pretty good shape. It just depends how much strength work she's done, because she was about a minute and a half behind Yahalu of Ethiopia, who actually finished third in Boston and ran 2:18 on that Boston course as well. And that was in a half marathon in Dubai that Eilish ran in February. She ran like 68 minutes, and Yahalu ran 67 something, I think, or even 66 high. And that was, I was reminded by someone the other day, that was kind of pre Eilish's altitude block as well, before she'd like really gone away and I guess really knuckled down. And I think she was still kind of building back at that point, and just sort of getting moving with things. I think possibly running sub 220 is doable. And also she ran 31 minutes low for 10K. That's very similar to Kali Thackeray ran. She was like 30-50 something at the Sound 10. And, she's obviously, I would say she's in 220 shape, there or thereabouts. I reckon on a fast course, perfect conditions. And so I think we can confidently say, like, if Eilish does transition well and she's done enough strength work, she probably is going to be in that sort of 220 to 222 range. And, but it's her debut, isn't it? So we've got to see how she copes.
Does she smoke all the other Brits?
Yeah, she smokes. Yeah, she smokes all the other Brits for me. I mean, you've got Rose Harvey. Obviously, her PB is 223, which is very, very good. 72.52 half marathon in New York a little while back. The conditions were shocking, and it was a tough course. But Conor Mann still ran 59 something on that course. Paddy Davis still ran 60 minutes in something. I just think, you're not. But we've seen something like that. Rose Harvey kind of is not too dissimilar to Sesemann in that way. Like, I remember when we saw Sesemann run 64 or so minutes for a half marathon, goes and runs 2:8. A few weeks after in Valencia, I think big half, and then his Valencia marathon were virtually a very similar half marathon split. So like, it is doable, but Rose Harvey doesn't look like she's going to be in PB shape for me. Doesn't look like she's going to be able to run 221, 222. She might do. We could well be eating our words. And then like Charlotte Purdue as well. Obviously 222, her lifetime best. Again, that's a mega time. Is that going to be good enough to be first Brit? But I think when you look back and you can see kind of patterns with people, can't you? And what races they do building into London, etc. And I think last year she ran a 68-minute half marathon, comes into London and runs well. This year she's run a 71:51 half marathon at the same event out in Japan. So I guess it doesn't bode quite as well, but you just never know what people are going through, what sort of training they did going into it, etc. But you'd kind of want to see them moving well. Don't have to be moving amazingly over the half, but you want to see them moving well.
Yeah, for sure, man. You'd want to see at least running marathon pace, even if you paced it right. So yeah, a 72 half is not low 220s. Yeah, be interesting, mate. I think it's one of the things though. McColgan is her debut, and if she really gets after it, she could find herself in trouble towards the back end. To be honest, I have no idea. Actually, I have no idea what she's going to run.
Well, do you know what I think? This is such an easy thing to say, isn't it? But I do think McColgan is either going to fly and she's going to go from strength to strength, or I think she's going to drop out. And if she drops out, it will be unfortunate. But I just think with her injury history, you could probably bet on something going wrong. If it's not going right, it won't be a case of, I can't see a McColgan where she's like battling for sort of, how Mark Scott finished last year and like 2:11. Just like battling away. I can't that would be equivalent of McColgan.
She won't run outside 223, 224.
No, otherwise I think she DNFs.
Yeah.
And there'll be a problem. Yeah. I think that. So yeah, I'm going to go McColgan wins. The British race. Phoebe Bowden's doing it. Again, though, with the 225 lifetime best, she's only in that 72:30 half marathon range at the moment, and that was in March. Was it a very, very small amount of altitude, to be fair? But, she is someone who I think will go from strength to strength the longer the distance goes. So I think her conversion is going to be very good. So we could expect her to see, again, something in that ballpark, which would be good just to consolidate at that level. Would probably be a pretty good result, to be honest. So that's the women's race. It's a shame, Lucy Reed. Obviously suffering a big old injury, so we're not going to see her. That would have been good. And as I mentioned, it would have been great to see Kali and Eilish do battle. But mate, what about the British? We'll get back to the, I guess, the internationals in a bit. But what about who takes home the British men's title? We've obviously got, well, now there's no Mark Scott or Emil. It's a case of Sesemann, Jack Rowe, Alex Yee, Mohammed, Jake Smith, Johnny Mellor. They're your kind of big contenders.
Mate, the one thing, right, when you take Emil out of it, it makes it such a better British race, right? Because Emil creams it, right, and we see him, hopefully, if he was running, get on the podium, right? But now the British race is wide open for me. Like, I think, obviously, I was going to say Mohammed's a favourite, but is he? Yeah, I mean, Phil always cranks out a good one, but I don't know, mate. I'm still sitting on the fence. You tell me to do my predictions, and I never plan ahead and prepare what I'm going to say. But, mate, I don't know. I got a feeling Jack Rowe's going to run really well. I know it's his debut, but the guy's just built for the roads, and the way he races over a half and the way he races against domestic athletes, he's almost got this, for want of a better, like, aura, right? He's got this aura around him when it comes to domestic British fields, and I think these guys are all going to be there or thereabouts in a similar packs. I would not be surprised if they're pretty much all in the same pace group. He's the sort of guy that when that's the case, he often comes out on top.
Yeah, Pat Tiernan ran well. How's he shaped up against Pat Tiernan in The Hague? Because he ran well in Boston, by the way, 2.8. They're in the same training group over in America. But yeah, also some more inside info on Jack is I think he actually, in New York when he ran 62.50, he actually stopped. I think he had bad stomach, etc. So he actually had to stop for a period of time. Otherwise, he was on for a much, much quicker time. So I think he is in very good shape, and you are right. He kind of is built for the roads. He's so efficient at that sort of tempo. He's kind of a local guy as well. He's going to have a lot of support, a lot of crowd out, I think. But also, I think, people like him and Yee, I just think you're never, this is probably unfair to say, but you're never more excited than when it's your first one. Like, yes, you're probably a bit anxious. Yes, you're nervous. But I think you do carry this, like, yeah, you called it an aura, but I think you do just carry, like, a lot of excitement, and you just can't wait to get going. And yes, you're a little bit naive, but often I think that's kind of a good thing with the marathon. I think you can overthink them. Mate, as Steve Jones said when we spoke to him.
Mate, bang on, and like you say, Steve Jones, right? Popped. Well, obviously he DNF'd in his first one, but after that, it's the first one that he finished anyway. He popped a big time, and I think you're back, mate. Honestly, I think the marathon debut sometimes is the one. It's really the one where you punch a good time, and then after that, I think the people who do it well are the ones who then go race some championship marathons and get some good placings rather than going after another time. Then they come back after placing well with some confidence and some experience, and they've raced on a few like tough courses. I feel like the people who just run London or Valencia every year, they struggle to chip away at a time. Particularly, I'm talking about the elite of the elite, right? Who have already got 13 5K PBs, or have 13 O's,
Yeah, 13 O's or even 12s, to be honest with you. But yeah, so Jack Rowe's chances. I mean, I got to admit, yeah, I look at this and I think Sesemann is going to have. It'd be crazy to call it a breakout performance, but I think. Performance that he deserves. I mean, he's done some mega stuff for training. I mean, I think it was about 8 weeks ago I saw Sesemann put up on Strava, like he did 24 miles at 5 flat miling, and had he carried on that day, he's running a 2:10 in training basically, or just outside 2:11 in training. And this is on the Leeds Canal 8 weeks ago, and I'm just thinking, Christ alive, mate! Like, if he's doing that now, what's he going to be capable of? He's certainly ramped his training up. I mean, he's had another block, and he loves races where he can control everything. Yeah, he's just one of those guys. I think he does thrive in those environments. And look, the weather looks good for London. Perhaps a touch warm as it nears midday, but there's not going to be too much wind. It's not going to be raining. And so I think he's going to be able to control a lot of things. He's going to have his fueling on point. He obviously knows the course really well now. Again, similar to how Emil and Mohammed really worked through last year, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to come back. He's going to be able to aim on. We're talking about Brits here, but there's a couple of Aussies in there. Brett Robinson, Andy Buchanan, Jacob Simonsen from Denmark's in there. And Al Petros is obviously, he's a great runner. He's probably going to be a bit further up the road. But there's quite a few Europeans and stuff in this race as well, which I think is going to help, because often we look at London and we go, unless you're running 2:03, 2:04, and you're willing to go through the halfway in 61 minutes, it's not the best race to run 2:08, 2:09. It's not. So, but I think there's going to be a good.
Say that. I mean, yeah. Apart from like you just mentioned, all the guys you pass and the boost you get from that. Right?
Yeah, but I think where this year is slightly different is there will be a really good group. I think 2.5, 2.06. You know, you've got Sondre Moen, you've got Cripper who's 2.6, Buchanan, obviously Mohamed Petros. Sesemann himself, maybe Johnny Mellehanger, Simonson, Brett Robinson. I think, you're going to get Jack Rayner's probably worth a bit more than his 2.11 PB. So I think you're going to get 6 or 7 trying to run that 2.06 sort of time.
What's Alex Yee going to run? I think,
what's Alex Yee going to run? I mean, it's fascinating. I just don't know. Like me and you were trying to say, like, he's probably the only one who knows how his fitness shapes up with the training he's doing. Like, none of us know enough about the kind of training he does and what it translates to, which is the big thing. You know, what sessions, what KPIs is he hitting, which are going to show he's going to run X time. I think what Yee's got to do is just get in there and just race the hell out of it. Like, I think he just needs to enjoy the race, and he just needs to throw everything at it. If I was him, because I think, is it going to be long term? Like, does he care too much? Like, is he going to be doing a marathon in LA? Maybe he will. If it goes really well, maybe he will. But I think he's got a free hit at this. He's got 0 to lose. He's the triathlete coming in. You know, I think he just needs to run with the, try and just hang on to people like Rowe and people like that and just see what happens. Because he's just as quick as them over a 10K. Yeah, he's just as fast as our best guys over 10K. Like, would he beat Sesemann? Would he beat Rowe? Over a flat 10, it would be an interesting race. I think he's got the ability there. And then you're like, well, where does it stop? If he can match them over a 10, surely with his aerobic endurance, you might even favour him towards a half, towards a marathon. But where you think about Yee is just that muscle conditioning. Has he got enough time on feet? Yes, he's aerobically gifted and strong, but can he handle the pounding?
Time on feet, not the same. But this is the thing with triathlons; they are hours and hours, and he is used to doing so many hours a week and racing for such long periods of time that there's no way this guy is. He's not bonking from under fueling or anything like that. Like the amount of triathletes eat before they race and like how much they take on the bike and things like that. There's no way he's missing his carbs. Do you know what I mean? Like whereas some people on their debut, that is a big risk factor. But I think there's no way it's happening with Yee. And it might sound odd, maybe it doesn't, but he's more elite than these guys. Whether it's running or not. He's the Olympic champion, and that adds something else. And the way he approaches training, and this is nothing against the other guys, but to win the Olympic triathlon, you just know no stone was left unturned, turning that silver into gold last year. And then coming into this, as much as it's a free hit, he's not going there to jog around and get some waves from the crowd. He's going there to really, really see what he can do.
You make a very good point. Like, the science side of the sport. Yeah, I mentioned Sesemann and, how on point he will be with all his fueling and this and that, preparations, course profiling. I think Yee will be on another level. And let's be honest, you mentioned he is more elite. Like, he's got more resource as well. So, when
he's
it comes to...
like one of New Balance's like top guys. Like
Yeah.
You see on social media doing all the testing. They probably made his shoes especially for him, like special size, not just the usual carbons. Well, he has, he's got his own triathlon pair, but I wonder if they made him a separate marathon pair as well, or if he's just wearing those because, obviously we saw him train in Loughborough and he had a special pair made for him. So wouldn't surprise me if he's doing exactly the same.
There's one thing's for sure. There's a lot of money has gone into this guy's performance in London. Kit, everything like that, training. So you take that into account and you're like, it could work. I just think from the racing angle, triathlon is very, a lot of the races, I just think back to the Olympics as well, like how down and dirty he was willing to get, and they do compete. Like, it doesn't, because they race on, different courses and stuff. We're not into triathlon ourselves, but it doesn't feel like they stress over times and this and that like we do in running. I think it's still quite pure in that sense, and they compete. And, he always comes out on top. Like, he has got that fighter mentality. And I think that will serve him well, definitely the latter stages of this marathon, is he's been on these like head-to-head, one-on-one battles in these endurance races time and time again. Yes, against different opposition. And to be honest, he is a class above when it comes to running against most of the opposition he comes up against in triathlon. But he kind of knows how to carry himself, and he's always been quite tactically quite good in those situations. And I think, again, that's a big strength.
And mate, you talk about some other athletes having a lot of support on the course, mate. He's a household name. He is going to be getting shouted,
yeah, that's true,
screamed at the whole way around. Again, kid from London as well. He's going to be getting screamed at the whole way, and he's going to be buzzing.
Yeah, he will. So, yeah, I mean, Alex Yee, originally, I'm probably just going to stick to my guns, though. And, I think he will shock the world. He'll shock us if he goes and runs 2:06. That'll be frightening. One, for his debut. Like, that would be a crazy debut, full stop. It would be the best British debut that we've ever seen. Possibly best European. I don't know. We'd have to check the record books. So I am putting him in the sort of 2:09, 2:10 ballpark, to be honest with you. And I think we're going to see him, battle with the likes of, Johnny Mellor and people like that. Mohammed, he's had an injury. I think he's had a bit of an injury in his build. Spoke to Idris a little while ago. He has been building back. He's been in good shape. He's been in Morocco with his brother Zach. But is he going to be the Mohammed we saw last year? Also, I think a factor for someone like Mohammed, he hasn't quite got he hasn't got the Olympics to try and qualify for like he did last year.
And also, it'd be sensible to not rush to this one if he has had some injuries, right? Like made a team last year for Paris. Job done. You've got 4 years to get yourself right for LA to go compete. You don't need to. Yeah. You don't need to do anything stupid this April.
Yeah. Agreed. So, so I think another name that we should just give a good bit of time to is Jake Smith, because obviously he has done, a marathon before. And I think this could be one of the best comebacks we've seen in the sport, especially what he's been through over the last 3 or 4 years. And I mean, mate, how about the listeners? The listeners can write into us if they know of someone. But for someone to suffer with Red S and stuff like he did, and to get back, if he does go and run like a 2:08, and he competes and he's on the podium at the Brits and sort of gets back to that level, I mean, that would be a serious comeback. And I'm not sure we've seen anyone have a comeback of that caliber before.
Mate, yeah. I think he's going to fly. I don't know if he'll be first Brit, but I think Jake Smith will run sub 2:10 for sure.
So he was impressive at the road relays. He's done a few 14 low park runs and stuff. But
for me, he's been real smart. Him and his coaching team have been real smart since his illness, and he's dropped out of a lot of races when he's not been quite ready. There's no way he lines up on Sunday if he's not ready to run under 2:10. He ran 2:11 like years and years ago, and he wasn't even trying. He's not. Yeah, he's not going to go there.
Yeah, but bro, so, he was running 60-30 for a half marathon when he ran that 2:11. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, he ran 60-30 a few months after that 2:11, or was it the other way around? I can't remember. But he was in some serious shape when he ran that 2:11. He's not running 60-30 now. And to be fair, people who do run 2:06 are usually running 60 and change halves, 61 at the very least, most of the time, unless they're a bit of an anomaly. But there's a lot of people who have run 60 minutes these days for the half. Yeah, I mean, I think he's on a really good trajectory. I don't think we're going to see a 2:08 from him, that sort of region. I think we'll see a solid 2:10, something like that. And that'll be a great run for him because, he seems like he's enjoying the sport, and he's going from race to race, and he has that momentum. And I think I think again, the way they've very, very gradually got him back at his best, but also the way that like Gavin and Joe are handling Innes, I just feel like they're going to have a long-term vision with Jake, and they're going to be like, look, can we make the LA Olympics? What sort of shape can we be in for that? Maybe Europeans next year is a big goal, or like a world half, something like that. And, I feel like this London Marathon, they'll be going in with it, with the mentality of like, it's almost like his debut. It's just another go at it. And it's been so long now. It is a bit of a debut for him once again. And so there'll be zero pressure on it. And I think they'll set off quite cautiously, and they won't go kind of all guns blazing. They'll want a good solid performance. And that's why I think we're going to see something in the region of that sort of 2:09, 2:10. But he might be capable
if he can go off conservative though, he's a guy that when people are coming back to him and the crowd's good, he will absolutely fly in the second half.
Yeah, he will. So Yeah, and I think he's still got to just test his mentality in these race situations as well. He's done some low key races, which are great, but I think athletes do put pressure on themselves going into these big races in London, and his mindset on the start line and during the race and everything like that is going to be a big step up for him in comparison to the last few races. Yeah, I think he just wants to come out of this with a positive experience, and that's going to serve him well. Mate, let's predict. So we've got McColgan to take the women's title and to take the men's title on the British side. Who are you going for?
I'm going to stick with my original answer, Jack Rowe.
Jack Rowe.
Jack Rowe.
Yeah, I think it would be between Jack and Sesemann. Yeah, I won't go against Jack, mate. Can't go against Jack. So yeah, Rowe Dog for the dub on his debut. That is quite a bold claim, to be fair, but yeah, we'll roll with it anyway. Hey, back to these international races. I think we spoke about the women's a little bit, but the men's we have glossed over. We need to go into more detail. I mean, Tola, obviously Olympic champ. What is he? 32 years old now. 3 lifetime best. He's won New York. I think London, his results are 3rd, 6th, and 6th, 2023, 2020, and 2019. I think he does come into this, for me, as a strong favourite, but the big man that we've got to talk about, there's 3 for me. It's Tola, it's Kiplimo, and it's Sebastian Sawe. And obviously Sawe runs 2:02 in Valencia in December, and what he can do over the half marathon. He's got a nice head-to-head against Kiplimo, beat him in Copenhagen, 58:0 there. And he just wins a lot. He wins a lot, and he's giving me like Kipchoge vibes, how he just sort of like targets races and just does them. I mean, Tola's like that a bit as well, but Sawe just seems like so methodical. Like when he turns up, he's always in shape. So yeah, I'm actually going to go for Sawe for the dub here.
I'll go Kiplimo, mate. Then I'll back the debut boys.
Oh man, Kiplimo, 24 years old, 56:42 half marathon. Yeah,
I think with Kiplimo, right, he's already achieved so much in the sport. We talk about Yee being elite. Kiplimo is elite. They've learned from Cheptegei's debut, I'm sure.
And Cheptegei's running 2:5 now. But I think the difference between the difference between Kiplimo and Cheptegei actually never really ran half marathons. I think before he debuted in the marathon, his half was like 62 minutes. And he just ran like a couple random half marathons here and there. One of them was like New York, I think. He never really attacked them, whereas Kiplimo has obviously been doing the halves for quite a long time. I mean, he was 20 years old and he was running 57:30 or 57:30 for the half marathon. So his experience in endurance races on the road is a lot better than Cheptegei. Whereas Cheptegei was always more attacking the 5.
I think Cheptegei had won the world half, but he hadn't drilled one, I don't think.
He never drilled one. He'd never drilled.
That's what I'm saying.
He definitely hadn't broke. No, I think that was Kiplimo, mate. The year Jake Smith. Remember when Jake Smith did the world half? I think Kiplimo won the world half that year.
I thought Cheptegei won that year. That's literally the year I was thinking of. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you are. That was that was like the weird COVID-y. Is it COVID? Is it 2021? Fact check it, man. Fact check it, but I'm pretty sure.
Certain now. PB's 59:21.
Yeah, he won it. Yeah, 2020.
He did.
He won it 58:49. So yeah, I was right. Yeah, Cheptegei just hasn't done much on the road. So that's why his marathon debut didn't quite go to plan, but he's getting better. I mean, he's committed to the cause, and I'm sure he will be very, very bloody good. But I mean, Kelvin Kipton's fastest debut, 2:01:53 or something. London course record is it 2:01? 2:01:20 or something, London course record. Double check
on something.
But yeah, and I think we're going to see. I do think they are going to go for that. Yeah, it's 2:01:25, the course record, I thought. So, Kipton, mind-boggling stuff. I think we're going to see something very close to it. But I think Sawe's going to be able to do it. I just think he's a great racer. Yeah, that's just my bet. I don't really have anything to go off because he too hasn't raced since Valencia Half Marathon. We don't know how he's preparing. It is just potluck, really. And yeah, I'm going to go Tola. Tola he's coming off the Olympic high. I don't think he's quite got the... Be great if he does win London. Be funny because people were saying that guy who won Boston, John Career, is the best marathon runner in the world right now. And I was thinking, hold on a minute. Like, if Tola wins London, he's definitely the best marathon runner in the world. And, you could have a couple blokes...
The best runner in the world for any event wins the Olympics and they're the best for 4 years. And you can't say any different.
Yeah, low key. Yeah, so it depends how you judge the best, right? But yeah, we've got those are the big three in the men's race. We've also got Abdi Nagy in there. We haven't got any Kennedy. unfortunately. So no Ken Anisa. He's
I
pulled
might
out.
boycott now. I saw that and I was like,
I was like, man, he's going to go. He was set to break another Masters World record. Like, what do you run, 204 in Valencia? But Kipchoge is doing it.
He's set to just do bits everything.
Mate, I can't believe we haven't mentioned Kipchoge and we are 40 odd minutes into this podcast. I mean, I was just going to focus on the head-to-head between Kipchoge and Bekele. Can Bekele sort of pull back? I think Kipchoge's 4-1 on the roads against Bekele. And the one Bekele won was Paris against him, and he DNF'd. But, I mean, I think Kipchoge is done. I don't see him winning this one. He's on a, he's sort of like, I don't blame him. I mean, he's announced his,
isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, he's not taking marathon running. I mean, he's doing Sydney Marathon, which is obviously a major, but even the fact he signed up to that, I'm like, if he was really, really committing to it, he'd be doing Rip in Berlin or something, wouldn't he? Or like fancying to go at Chicago or something like that. So yeah, I think
he's just doing what Paul is doing, but without the break.
Yeah. Crikey, are they the same age?
No,
I
mean, she's racing. She's going. She got her 6 stars, didn't she, or whatever it's called?
Yeah, but yeah, I know she ran Boston, but there can't be too many years between them. Like, Paul has probably got about 5-10 years on him, maybe tops. I mean,
Paul's 51.
He's not too far behind. Was he 41 or something?
He's 40. It's not 40.
He is. Yeah.
I thought he was older than that.
I thought he was older than that as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I thought he was older than that.
Anyway, he'll be
Shows how
attacking
much we know.
Kenny's Masters World Records. But So, and then Abdi Nagi's in there as well, and the defending champ, who we shouldn't overlook, Alex Matuso, of Kenya. So, and he's a 57-59 half marathon duty. He ran 59-16 in Japan. He was a beast last year, yeah. I think what's interesting as well, like, again, you go on these like patterns that people do. He ran this half in Japan and ran 59-16. Took the dub this year. Last year, he did exactly the same thing, ran 59.30 in Japan and then took the dub in London running 2:04. So he's in better shape than he was last year if you go off of this race and his build in. And so, yeah, he's going to be in it, isn't he? At least for a good while. Might even get the win, but I'm going to go with Sawi. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, mate, just on Kipchoge. Obviously, I was fact checking his age then, and there's a Let's Run article titled "Eliud Kipchoge is at least 50 years of age, potentially 60." Well, if you're interested in that, go read that, because that's what I'm about to do after this pod. But we did speak to someone, didn't we, on the podcast who is in the camp who basically implied that. I can't remember who.
What, that he is old?
Yeah, quite a bit older.
We've got a few sources out there, mate. I've heard he could be older, definitely. But yeah. So there we go. There's London. We can't wait. Obviously, we'll be watching it. Actually, in fact, I'm commentating on Madrid on the same day. So yeah, I will be watching Madrid. But I'll have to watch London back. That's for sure. But I hope you enjoy it, mate.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Speaking of Madrid, I've not caught up with you after the.
Mate, yeah, gutted. Yeah, for those listening, Real Madrid are my Champions League team. I'm disgusted, mate. I'm disgusted.
Man United used to be your Champions League team, and then to switch over.
No. I just love to watch Madrid, pull off these great comebacks, but wasn't to be against Arsenal. And can't wait to see. When do Arsenal get knocked out by PSG? Is that this week or next week?
Well, week today is the first day.
Oh, that'll be exciting then. Yeah, I'll watch that game. Can't wait to watch.
Like you say, mate, that wraps us up. Enough football. Thanks for listening to us, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoy watching London on Sunday, and we'll catch you guys very, very soon. Guests coming up on Sunday as well, and then we'll be back with a London review, I am sure, early next week too. But thanks for listening, and see you soon.